Well, again, hello everybody. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here for this session on how to use Zotero as a reference management software program for your research and projects and papers. My name is Cynthia Kane, and I am one of several instruction librarians here. I will make sure that you have my email address during this recording so that if you have any questions about how to use Zotero, how to actually download it or anything like that, you'll be more than welcome to contact me, and I'd be happy to help you with that. I also do have a handout for Zotero, so those of you who might be watching this as a YouTube recording, you're more than welcome to watch me and then contact me after the session, and then I'll be very happy to send you the handout, and then that way you can go ahead and get started with that as well. So what we're going to do during this session today is go ahead and show you how to use Zotero. After I end the recording, then we'll have a chance to entertain questions after the workshop on how it works and then how you can use it to basically manage your papers, projects, and other sessions. So you may have used other types of citation managers before. So some of you, for example, may have used different databases that have cite or citation tools. And those will actually let you create citations in APA, MLA, other types of citations, and then you can copy and paste those into a bibliography. Now, those work really well, but the advantage of Zotero is that it will actually let you create folders on your computer, download citations or references directly from databases, from Amazon, and import them. It will also integrate with Microsoft Word, so it will help you actually do in-text citations. I'm going to show you tonight how that will work. So the first thing you do is at www.zotero.org. When we go to home, you would actually go ahead and click on Download, and you would download Zotero 5.0 for Windows. If you do happen to be using a Mac computer, go ahead and download this as well, because this will actually integrate with other browsers. I'm going to be using Google Chrome tonight, and I've already installed Google Chrome as a connector. But what you would want to do is download Zotero first onto your computer, and then you would want to install a connector over here for Google Chrome, or if you use other browsers, such as Firefox, or if you're on a Mac computer, if you use Safari, you can install a connector for that as well. The reason that you do have to install a connector is that that's actually going to let Zotero talk to your browser to be able to download the different citations. So, as I mentioned, I already do have this downloaded on my computer, so I'm going to minimize the screen for just a second. And then I'm going to share this screen, this next screen with you. And this is what will happen. Once you install Zotero onto your computer and you install a connector, you're going to see a little Z on your desktop. You always want to click on the Z and make sure that that Z is open, because that's going to let Zotero actually then talk to your computer or to your browser to download citations. So what will happen with Zotero is that you can do a lot of different things at this point with it. If I were to go over here, Zotero calls its folders collections. So if I click on New Collection, I can actually start creating folders or collections for different research projects that I happen to be working on. So I'm just going to make up one just for the heck of it. I'm going to say that I'm doing a paper on eating disorders. So I'm doing a research paper on eating disorders. And what I want to do now is collect all of my information, like articles, PDFs, books, and so forth, in these collections or folders so that they're all saved in one location. Now, I don't have anything here right now, so what I'm going to do is minimize this screen. And what I can do is I can always minimize this Zotero screen so it isn't in my way. And I'm going to go back over here, again, sharing my screen. And what I want to do first is show you all just really quickly what Zotero can do for you. Then I'm going to show you some different things that you can make Zotero a little bit more personalized for your work. So at this point, I have Zotero downloaded, and I'm going to go to the library's webpage, at emporia.edu/library. And now I'm ready to do my research. So the first thing I might want to do is see if we have any books in our collection that have to do with eating disorders. And the great thing about being at this workshop is that I'm also going to give you a quick tutorial on using the library's website, just in case you have any questions about that. So I actually want to search for books about eating disorders, first of all. So I'm going to type in eating disorders. And you notice that I could do eating disorders or anorexia or bulimia or disordered eating. But down here, this is kind of hidden. I actually want to limit my search to print books only. So right now I only want to see the print books that our library has that deal with eating disorders or anorexia. And if you all are like me, sometimes I just only have time to do a very quick search, and I don't really have time even to look for books or look for articles. I just need to see very quickly what we have in our library that might relate to my subject or to my research paper. And this is where Zotero can be an incredible time saver. So this first book is called Psychological Responses to Eating Disorders and Obesity. I'm going to click on this. Now up here at the screen, this is kind of hard to see, but now that I had Zotero installed and I have it open, I have a little icon up here that looks like a page. I'm going to click on that page. And I'm going to show you what this did. So now I'm going to go back down here to Zotero and share this screen again. And what happened was all the information about that print book now got saved into my folder or collection in Zotero. So I have the title, I have the author, I have the abstract of the book, and even way down here, it actually went ahead and downloaded the location for the book that is on deck 2, and here's the call number. So I didn't have to write down anything. I've got this all saved. I don't have to do anything else except go back to my search and keep downloading information into Zotero. There's a little field here called Notes. And if any of you ever have to do anything like an annotated bibliography, if you have to do like a summary and then a reaction to a book or to an article, you can actually start making notes here on Zotero that will help you start your annotated bibliography. Or you could just write a note here on, remember to check out this book. You could just do a little internal note to yourself. And then we're taken care of there. And notice that I do have my little note down here, so it reminds me of what I did. So I could go back down here. Again, I'm going to share my screen. And I could go back to my result list. And I could keep adding books, information about the books. Also, if I wanted to see if our library had ebooks or electronic books on this topic, I can limit my search just to ebooks only. And here's one that's called Acceptance and Commitment Therapy for Eating Disorders. That looks kind of interesting. And by the way, if I click on this PDF full text, I could read this full text if the EBSCO host ebook online. I wouldn't have to check it out or anything. So that's a good thing to remember if you ever are looking for books, but you don't happen to be in the library or you're not able to get to that. Limit your search to ebooks. Let's go ahead and save this again. And if I go back down here, I'm going to share this screen again. There's my information about the ebook. And down here, since this was an ebook, it actually went ahead and saved the URL, so I don't have to remember to copy and paste that either. I've got that saved in Zotero. Now, the great thing about Zotero is that what I'm doing right now is just kind of saving some information as I go along. I can, if I want to, and you don't necessarily have to do this, if you're working on Zotero on your own computers or your own laptops, you can do everything that I'm doing right now. If you are going to be going from one computer to another or using one of the computers here in the library, I'll go back here. You can actually go back to Zotero and go to Login, and you can register for a free account. Everything we're doing with Zotero right now is totally free, and it's also available to you after you graduate from ESU, because this is not actually tied to Emporia State University. So that's another really good reason why I like to use Zotero. And if you create a free account, I'm going to log in with mine. It's my old email. This is sort of like logging into your account on Google Drive. Everything that Zotero does, it can save to the cloud. So this is my old account that I've used for Zotero, and you can see that I have different collections created over here and different items that I've saved over the years. If I wanted to sync up my account with Zotero, I can go over here to Edit and Preferences. And if I go to Sync, I can put in my account information. We'll kind of let that do its thing. And now you see I'm logged into my account, and it's showing everything that I've done. You don't have to do this if you're just going to be working on your own laptop. But again, if you think you're going to be using Zotero on different computers, you might want to go ahead and create an account, and then you can always download Zotero to a computer here at the library or somewhere else, and then log in with your account. Again, very similar to Google Drive in that respect. So real quickly, I want to go back over here. And I'm going to go back to the library's homepage. That link just decided not to work, so we're just going to go back over here. And really quickly, I want to show you how I could download articles. I'm going to go to Databases. And again, I'm still working with my search of eating disorders. So if I went into a psychology database, and we have a lot of different databases for different subjects, but if I went into a psychology database such as PsycInfo, I could go to an advanced search, and I'm just going to do this fairly quickly because I just want to show you some examples of how I can download articles. And I'm going to limit this to all just to peer-reviewed journals. And I'm going to search here. And I can also limit this by language or by year. And we're going to scroll down. Here's military sexual trauma is associated with eating disorders, while combat exposure is not. I'm going to click on this link again. And again, I have this little page up here for Zotero. We're going to save this. And now when I go back down here to Zotero, I now have information about the article. And see what happened when I double clicked on that. If you go into Zotero, and I do have this on your handout as well, there's a place where you can go to Edit and Preferences again. And you want to make sure under General that everything is here to sync up Zotero with your PDFs. And I know I'm going really quickly, so if you ever have any questions about this, I'd be happy to make a research appointment with any of you and show you how this works. But what I like about this is that this downloaded the information about the article, but it also saved the PDF in the Zotero cloud. So again, I don't have to worry about trying to save this PDF or emailing it to myself or trying to figure out did it actually go anywhere else. So now we have several records that we can work with. The next thing you can do with Zotero is go back over here to Edit and Preferences. And under Cite, these are all of the different citation styles that are supported with Zotero. So a lot of you may be using APA, American Psychological Association. Others may be using the Modern Language Association, the MLA, and others might be using the Chicago Manual of Style. There are a lot of other citation styles that are supported here. I'm going to go ahead, I think, for tonight, and I'm going to use APA. So what I can do here under my Cite is say that that's what I'm using for my citation style. So now what I want to do is hold down the Control key on my keyboard. And I've actually selected these 3 records because now I want to create a bibliography or a references list. So I right-clicked and I said I want to create a bibliography from these items. Again, I can go back and say I want these to be in APA. And I want to save this as a bibliography in RTF or rich text format. This is kind of a universal format that works with a lot of different word processing programs. And I'm going to save this to my desktop, and I'm going to do test on this. And we're going to minimize this again. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and open Microsoft Word. And I'm going to go here to File and Open. And I saved this under my documents, so I'm going to open this test. And you see what that did? It just created my bibliography or my references list for the ones that I downloaded on Zotero, and it put them in alphabetical order. So I love this part. I really like this. And I can go back and I can edit this because I might have to make some corrections for the appropriate citation style, but it just made creating that bibliography so much easier. It was just wonderful. That's a real quick overview. The last thing I do want to show you tonight, and again, like I said, I'm actually making a recording right now, so all of you who are here tonight, I will send you this recording closed captioned as a YouTube video. You'll be able to go ahead and take a look at this as well. We're going to go ahead and do a new file. So the last thing I wanted to show you with Zotero is that Zotero will actually integrate into Microsoft Word. So I don't know about you all, sometimes I struggle on doing in-text citations because I know that I have to do them a certain way, but it can be a little bit challenging, or I have to think, okay, now how am I going to do this? Or make sure I'm coordinating them with the correct reference. Zotero actually makes this so much easier for you. So when you install Zotero, I'm going to go back over here for just a second and share this screen. When you install Zotero, it may or may not actually install a word processing connector for you immediately. If it does, you'll see Zotero was part of Microsoft Word. If it doesn't, you can go to plugins. And there's a lot of different plugins that you can use here as well. I can find this one here. Here we go. So what you may have to do is actually go to Zotero Word Processor plugins to get that to plug into Microsoft Word. It will also plug into Google Docs, by the way, so which is very nice. What will happen is that, I'm going to go back here again. Zotero then should show up here on the top of your menu. So I'm going to show you all really quickly what I would wind up doing to integrate this into my Microsoft Word document. So I'm just going to start typing eating disorders are a major problem even for adults these days. So I'm just kind of making something up here. I'm going to go to Zotero, and I want to add an in-text citation. And I want this to be an APA. And what I'm doing is I just started typing in part of the title of a work that's already in my Zotero library. So remember what I already downloaded. So I might decide that my citation is going to come from this particular article about military sexual trauma. I'm going to click on that. All done. And if I start a new page down here, I can actually wait until I write my paper with all of my citations integrated into Zotero. But let's say that I'm done for right now. Then I can go to Add Edit Bibliography, and it just added that citation for my references list. And I really like this because it makes it so much easier to keep track of what you're doing with your in-text citations and everything else. I know that that is a really quick overview. There's a lot more that one can learn as far as Zotero is concerned. But what I'm going to do here at the very bottom, as I end this recording, and then we're going to open this up to questions, is type my name again. I'm Cynthia Kane, and my email address is ckane1@emporia.edu. I would be more than happy to answer any in-depth questions about Zotero. A lot of it is pretty intuitive. There's also a lot of YouTube videos that are out there that will get you started with that too. But I think what I'm going to do now is go ahead and end this recording. And thank you very much for being a part of this.